The year is 2025. Donald Trump, back in the Oval Office after a tumultuous 4 years, stands before a cheering crowd. His words, harsh and uncompromising, echo the rhetoric of his first term. Immigration, he declares, remains a threat to America's core. He promises to restore law and order, to secure the border, to put America first. Behind him, a phalanx of advisors nod in grim satisfaction. These are Trump's hawks, the architects of his hardline immigration agenda, back to finish what they started. Their return signals a dark turn for America, a descent into fear and division. This is not just about policy, it's about people's lives, families torn apart, dreams shattered. The promise of America, a beacon of hope for generations of immigrants, tarnished by suspicion and fear. The hawks, unmoved by such concerns, see only numbers, statistics, threats to be neutralized. They are driven by ideology, not empathy. Their vision of America is one of exclusion, not inclusion. This time, however, the stakes are even higher. Emboldened by Trump's return, the hawks push for even more extreme measures. Mass deportations, the end of DACA, a wall of steel and concrete, a monument to fear, stretching across the southern border. Their plans, if realized, would fundamentally reshape America, transforming it from a nation of immigrants into a fortress of fear. The fight for America's soul has begun. Stephen Miller, his face a mask of impassiveness, occupies a position of outsized influence in Trump's inner circle. He is the ideologue, the true believer, the architect of Trump's most divisive policies. Miller's brilliance, some say, lies in his ability to tap into the currents of fear and resentment that course through segments of American society. He understands the power of grievance, the allure of scapegoating. Immigration, for Miller, is not a complex issue with human costs, but a zero-sum game. Every undocumented immigrant, in his view, represents a threat to American jobs, American security, the very fabric of American society. He speaks of invasions and caravans, of criminals and terrorists pouring across the border. His language is stark, devoid of nuance or compassion. Miller's signature achievement, if it can be called that, is the family separation policy. Thousands of children, ripped from their parents' arms at the border, became a symbol of Trump's cruelty. The images, broadcast around the world, sparked outrage and condemnation. But Miller remained unmoved. He had achieved his goal to deter asylum seekers, to send a message that America was closed for business. Now, back in a position of power, Miller is determined to finish what he started. He has Trump's ear, and his vision, dark and uncompromising, threatens to become America's reality. Miller's plans for immigration are breathtaking in their scope and ruthlessness. They represent a wholesale assault on the very idea of America as a nation of immigrants. Everyone else, particularly those from Latin America, Africa, and Muslim-majority countries, would be deemed undesirable. One of Miller's top priorities is to dismantle DACA, the program that has offered temporary protection to young immigrants. They contribute to their communities, pay taxes, and serve in the military. But Miller sees them as a problem to be solved, not people deserving of compassion. If Stephen Miller is the architect of Trump's immigration agenda, Tom Homan is its enforcer. A career Border Patrol agent, Homan embodies the hard-nosed, uncompromising approach that has come to define Trump's immigration policies. He is a man of action, not words. His language is blunt, often laced with disdain for those who question his methods. Homan rose to prominence during Trump's first term, serving as acting director of Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE. Under his leadership, ICE became synonymous with aggression and ruthlessness. Workplace raids became commonplace. Deportation flights, packed with desperate families, departed for far-flung corners of the globe. Homan, unfazed by the criticism, defended his record, arguing that he was simply upholding the law. He has a particular disdain for sanctuary cities, jurisdictions that have adopted policies limiting their cooperation with federal immigration enforcement. Homan sees such policies as an affront to his authority, a challenge to be met with overwhelming force. He has threatened to deploy ICE agents to sanctuary cities, to make them examples of what happens when jurisdictions defy the Trump administration. Homan's return to a position of power sends a chill down the spines of immigrant communities across America. They know what to expect: more raids, more deportations, more families torn apart. For Homan, compassion is a sign of weakness. His job, as he sees it, is to make America fear him. Section 5. Homan's deportation machine. Homan's vision for immigration enforcement is one of relentless pressure and overwhelming force. He believes in making America as inhospitable as possible for undocumented immigrants, creating a climate of fear that will deter them from coming and encourage them to leave. He speaks of restoring order, of sending a message, of making America great again. Under Homan's direction, ICE has become a sprawling deportation machine, its tentacles reaching into every corner of American life. Workplace raids have become increasingly common, striking fear into the hearts of immigrant workers and their families. Even those with long-standing ties to their communities, those who have built lives and raised families, are not immune. Homan has also overseen a dramatic expansion of the detention system. Detention centers, often located in remote areas far from legal aid and family support, have become overcrowded and inhumane. Reports of abuse, neglect, and inadequate medical care abound, but Homan dismisses such concerns, arguing that detainees are treated humanely and that the conditions are necessary to deter future migration. One of Homan's most controversial tactics is the separation of families at the border. He argues that such separations are necessary to deter future migration and to enforce the law. But critics argue that the policy is cruel and inhumane, causing lasting psychological damage to children and families. Section 6. Kristi Noem, Guardian of the Wall. Kristi Noem, her blonde hair perfectly coiffed, her smile unwavering, represents the friendly face of Trump's immigration agenda. Behind the polished exterior lies a steely resolve, an unyielding commitment to Trump's vision of a fortress America. As Secretary of Homeland Security, Noem oversees securing America's borders and enforcing its immigration laws. She rose to prominence as governor of South Dakota, earning a reputation as a staunch Trump ally. Noem fiercely defended his immigration policies, echoing his rhetoric about securing the border. She also emerged as a vocal critic of refugee resettlement. As Secretary of Homeland Security, Noem has become a tireless advocate for Trump's border wall. She speaks of the wall as a symbol of American strength and resolve. The wall is seen as ineffective and environmentally destructive, but this does not deter her. Noem's unwavering support for Trump's immigration agenda has made her a hero to the right and a villain to the left. She is a polarizing figure, a symbol of the deep divisions in America. For Noem, there is no ambiguity, no room for compromise. She is a true believer, convinced she is on the right side of history. Section 7. A Nation Divided. The return of Trump's hawks has plunged America into a new era of uncertainty and fear. Immigrant communities, already reeling from the attacks of Trump's first term, brace themselves for a new wave of repression. The American dream, once a beacon of hope for millions around the world, seems increasingly out of reach. The hawks, however, are undeterred. They see themselves as patriots, defending America from those who would seek to destroy it. They believe that their policies are necessary to preserve American jobs, American culture, the very fabric of American society. Compromise, in their view, is tantamount to surrender. The result is a nation increasingly divided, its citizens pitted against one another in a bitter struggle over its soul. On one side are those who believe in a more inclusive America, a nation that welcomes immigrants and celebrates its diversity. On the other side are those who yearn for a more homogeneous America, a nation that prioritizes the needs of its native-born citizens. The stakes could not be higher. The outcome of this struggle will determine the kind of nation America will become, a beacon of hope or a fortress of fear. Section 8. The Fight for America's Soul. The fight for America's soul is being waged in courtrooms and classrooms, in the halls of Congress and on the streets. It is a fight for the very definition of America, for the values it holds dear. Will America remain a nation that welcomes the stranger, that embraces its diversity, that offers refuge to the oppressed? Or will it succumb to fear and division, becoming a nation that turns its back on the world, that builds walls instead of bridges? The outcome of this fight is far from certain. The forces of fear and division are strong, but so too are the forces of hope and compassion. Across America, people are rising up to challenge Trump's agenda, to defend the rights of immigrants, to reaffirm America's commitment to justice and equality. They march in the streets, they donate to legal defense funds, they volunteer at detention centers, they contact their elected officials, they refuse to be silenced. They know that the fight for America's soul is a fight they cannot afford to lose. The future of America hangs in the balance. The time to choose is now. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more trending news.